Hello, everyone. Welcome if you are new to the channel. Welcome back if you love me. I love you too. We are here for the full moon in Aries, and your girl took a fucking nap after work because I get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning for work. And it was like 5:46 when I got situated after getting home because I had made dinner and stuff for my son and I was like, you know what? I want to be real fresh for this full moon and set my alarm for like an hour. I was like, that'll be plenty. And I knocked right out. I knocked out so bad that 3 hours later, I was like, oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, so we're here in divine time. And this message, you know, it can be relevant for you whenever you catch it. The whole point of the secret code name readings is that you are guided to a particular secret code name. And the reason why you're drawn to it, stands out to you, is because there's probably a message in there for you to take away from it. So the secret code names, which we'll have timestamps in the comments after, okay, once the live is done, are Moissanite, Alexandrite, Sapphire, and Fire Agate. Okay, those are the 4 secret code names. So if you resonate to one of those, one of them stands out to you, make sure you give it a look. All right, because there's most likely a message in there for you. Now, these readings are themed shedding the old skin. Okay, and actually, I wanted to go over really briefly what the astrology of this full moon is. Okay, because this is what it looks like. If my camera will do its thing, this is what it looks like. All right. Now, we still have it's fucking rough. Okay, the Uranus Venus Juno square. Uranus is at 22 degrees Taurus and it's squaring off against a conjunct Juno Venus in Leo. So with this square going on, I feel like I have to fucking sneeze, y'all, out of like nowhere. I mean, I had allergies and shit going on last week, but they ain't bothered me in like 4 days. My nose just started acting up, like literally like 30 seconds into going live. So apologies in advance if it starts being an asshole. That's square. Juno, I'll describe Juno this way. Juno's wifey. Okay. Venus is the wife that you wish would be more wifey. Okay. Juno is like Hera. She is the goddess of the gods. She's the high mother, right? And she gets pissed off when Zeus is a cheating whore. But she's typically not unfaithful to Zeus, right? She's wifey. She's wifey. Venus, on the other hand, is the really beautiful, you know, goddess that everybody wants to be with. There's crazy chemistry with Venus. But she's not wifey. Like she's a cheating hoe. You know, she was married to Hephaestus, but running off and getting caught with Aries, right? Venus also has incredible wrath. She's insanely jealous. So she's like, she's the person you're more attracted to that is not actually part of material. Okay. So Juno and Venus, with them being connected like that in conjunction, right, with the square to Uranus, is doing one of two things. The wife, you know, that you wish would not be a hoe, right? Can't make a wife out of a hoe. That woman can radically shift if she rises to the challenge with the Uranus square. If she rises to the challenge, she can literally elevate into wifey material, like true wife, right? On the other hand, you could have someone who is definitely wifey material who could literally transform into the fucking hoe. And I say her because we're talking about female goddesses. However, we're talking essentially about heart spaces. All right, so I could be talking about dudes too, or whatever you resonate as, right? Whatever you identify as. So you could be taking someone who is not partner material, having them elevate to this challenge, this radical change, right? In the reality with Uranus and Taurus, because Taurus is a reality, right? You can have them radically shift into true partner material. Someone who will keep your ass in line when you're out of line, like someone who is in line. Or you could literally have them kind of fall from that pedestal where they may have been partner material for a very long time. They may have been the perfect partner. And then all of a sudden they meet the Venus type energy and they turn into the hoe, you know? So this challenge going on with the full moon, because this is a major release, right? Full moons are major releases. And I'm feeling, especially because it's the Libra Aries polarity, that the sun is shining light on where we really do need to be emotionally independent. And if we are impulsive, if we're volatile, if we're reckless with our words or actions, it's because there's something that needs to heal and to bring us back to balance, right? There's something deep on the subconscious of the self that we really need to look at. Otherwise, we wouldn't be ruining a good thing. You know what I mean? Whether you're the Venusian energy or the Juno energy, if something or someone's not in alignment, it's going to show pretty quickly. Okay. Especially because that square of Venus, Juno, and Uranus with the opposition of the sun and moon, actually the way it sits creates two sesquisquares. I'm hoping you could see that. The square is the line that's highest that you could see. And then the opposition is dead through the center. But you can see that kind of X with the two weird like squarish Q's. The squarish Q symbol is a sesquisquare, or a sesquiquadrate. And they're square and a halves. We're getting that challenge from Venus, Juno to the moon, right? Fire, double fire. And then we're getting the other one from Taurus to Libra, and they're both Venusian ruled. So we've got like triple Venus going on energy wise in this. Major challenges. Like jealousy is not attractive. Having people feel like they're not good enough as they are and going after some other thing, like it's not attractive. Okay, we're talking about emotional infidelity. We're talking about brazen acts of pursuing someone that should not be pursued, whether you should not be pursued by someone else or vice versa. Hey, Rita, how you doing? Like a great example would be, if you're going out with someone, it's a fresh new relationship and you're like, yeah, I'm not single anymore. I'm taken, this is my boyfriend or this is my girlfriend. And now your friend of however long It's like, you know, it's a good thing you're not single, because if you were, I'd be on you right now. And it's just like, this the most inappropriate thing to say to someone who's in a fresh relationship. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you had your shot while I was single for 2 years, kind of thing, you know? Like, why would you say that kind of shit to me now that I'm in a relationship? Like, that's kind of fucked up. It's that kind of stuff, right? That's going on, and that's challenging the balance or the integration going on with the Libra Aries polarity. Because anytime we have oppositions, like with full moons, there's an integration taking place between the light of that energy. And that is being in a balanced dynamic, right? A partnership, Libra, because you know what you want and have taken the lead in your life, Aryan energy. You know, so anything that would dissuade you or pull you or distract you from your balanced partnership in alignment with what it is that you want, anything that would distract you from that, you need to get as far away from that as possible right now, especially because of those two sesquisquares that are coming from the square to the opposition. That is major, major challenge. Major challenge. Like, people could be flashing money. People could be, you know, all of a sudden on a weird glow up, and you're like, you know, looking at them like, for real? Like, looking at your quote unquote partner who wasn't Venus, but was Juno, right? The actual wife or partner material. And they weren't looking like Venus. Maybe they were hanging out in sweats or pajamas or comfy clothes, and they weren't really, you know, doing nothing to fix themselves up. They weren't looking the most attractive on the outside, but on the inside, they're a fucking diamond. And now all of a sudden you leave them for some quote unquote bullshit, you know, or you get distracted by some bullshit that's more attractive. And then they're like, oh, you want to do that? Boom. And they glow up, and you're like, what? Now what do you do? Because what you really wanted was not your Juno. You wanted Venus. So what do you do now? Because you went after Venus and your partner's glowing up, and you're just like, you know, you've got to figure out what the fuck it is you really want. Because if you're chasing Venus energy, if you're chasing Venusian energy, it's extremely challenged right now. What you really, really want is to be at peace within the self, regardless of what the outer looks like. Because I'm going to tell you something. If someone's genuinely a diamond on the inside, they're wife or husband material, like legit partner material. But they're looking like they're overwhelmed with life, or they have too much going on or whatever. But they're a diamond on the inside. If you're losing sight of the fact that they're a diamond in the mirror of things, okay? We're talking about the divine mirror of things, how the inner reflects in the outer, that you would see them as a reflection in your outer. They're a genuine diamond whose value you have completely lost sight of because the outer experience is bullshit, and that's where your energy is. You have the potential to be a diamond for your partner who's a diamond, but you are losing sight of their value because you have lost sight of your own value, that your value is partner material if you choose to acknowledge it. But your behavior looks like shit, especially if you're talking to someone else. If you're buying into the quote unquote energy of someone else, like I was warning about being love bombed and shit. Like, I went over the monthly zodiacs for my members. They already have their zodiac readings up for October. There is some crazy energy going on in the polarities, and it's showing for October. And that October energy is coming from this full moon. What we're releasing right now going into October is this full moon. This full moon is going to last a whole 28-day cycle, right? A whole full moon cycle. So from now till damn near the very end of October, this is the kind of energy that people are going to be realizing that they're dealing with. And it highly depends on what area of your life this polarity is in and what signs Taurus and Venus are in. Like for me, like I have Taurus in my 11th house and I have Leo, this Venus energy, in my 2nd house. So I'm dealing more with goals, dreams, soul circles, right? Different tribes or soul family that I'm partaking in, and money, right? That's where this dynamic shift, this challenge is happening with me. And it fucking shows. It fucking shows. Trust me, I've had revelations the last like 48 hours. And, you know, the integration is about what is it that I really, really want? Because my Libra Aries polarity is in my 4th house, going into my 5th house, and my 10th house going into my 11th house. So I'm really focusing on what it is that I really want to be as a mother, what I really want to provide, right? As a 10th house, right? As the father or the masculine energy within the self, what I want to provide for my life as a mother, you know, and how that dictates the character that I'm in and portray myself to be. Like, who do I really want to be? Right. So, especially in regards to my career, right? 10th house. So, whatever houses are being lit for you with this energy, those are the major, major challenges. Like right now, I'm in a position, I'll be really open with y'all so that you can understand exactly how these energies are playing out and why it's important to know your chart. When I first started this job, I loved the fucking job. I loved everybody there, right? They were wifey, right? Juno material. They were fucking wifey when I started there. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure Juno was could have been in Taurus at the time, to be completely fair. And now, there has been a definite shift in the value that this job is presenting, to where I have literally gone out and looked for other employment. You know what I mean? Given it's got to be what I want. I'm not just taking anything. And of course, if I'm taking it, it's going to be making me more money and give me better hours, you know? So that's the kind of thing going on. Like, they used to be wifey, but certain things have happened in their reality, and it's just completely depreciated the value of the job. They're not a wifey type job anymore. They're not something I necessarily want to be married to. At one point I had fully committed, was married it. This is my career, you know, this is the place where I want to be. And, I cannot say the same right now, you know. Can it pick itself up? I'm sure it can. Will it though? Will it though, you know? So really, really take a good look at the different houses that this is going on in your life and decide who you really do want to commit to, or what you really do want to commit to, because it's long term. It's long term. We're about to go into eclipse season. So if it's not in alignment, trust me when I tell you, the eclipses that are coming in October, which is why I'm doing the Facebook event tomorrow. For those of you who are not familiar with me on Facebook, or you are following me on Facebook and the algorithm just hasn't been kind to you as far as keeping you in the know with my page, I'm doing an event tomorrow where I'm literally doing a card reading on the 12 different areas of your life, right? Based on the 12 different houses of the zodiac, and giving everybody a sneak peek of the rest of the year, because the eclipse energy coming through, we're talking the Libra and Aries axis. And the second one, the lunar eclipse, is actually going to be in Taurus, which is interesting because it is the last eclipse that we'll have in Taurus for a very, very long time. It'll start eclipsing in Aries. So we won't have this interesting kind of flashback of energy with the eclipse in Taurus anymore. And that's closing a major cycle. Like that is closing like a 4-year cycle of Taurian eclipses. So what have all the eclipses yielded, right? That we were going through all these different eclipses on the Scorpio and Taurus axis. This is the final eclipse there. So there's a lot that's coming out in October, and this moon has a lot to do with it. This moon has a lot to do with it. So if you guys want to catch that event, I will be live at 12 p.m. tomorrow, Central Daylight Time, CDT time zone, because I'm in Illinois in the United States, okay? If you want to catch that wherever you are in the world, that will actually be on my Facebook. I'm Myths of Magic Rising on Facebook, and I'll be live at noon. I have 5 slots already sold, okay? They're paid readings. They're not freebies, okay? If you want a reading, you can book it in advance with the early bird price all the way up until I go live. Once I'm live, there's a price jump. It's not huge, but there's a price jump, and you don't get your name anonymous, right? Because right now, if you pay in advance, you can be anonymous. That's how I'm doing it, because these are going to be really in-depth readings. So if you want to pay in advance, you can. I still have at least one space still open. If you want to do that, you'll have to go through the trouble of actually making it to my Facebook and checking it out. All right, if you want to go over to my Facebook page. Other than that, we're gonna get into this reading, and I feel like, just so that y'all are aware, there is this kind of yachty energy going on. It's not exact, but we do have a 25-degree Neptune in Pisces, 𝐴𝐶𝐿, the South Node. And we have Uranus in Taurus, 𝐴𝐶𝐿 Mars in Libra, which are like they're 3 degrees away from each other. So there's 2 𝐴𝐶𝐿s aiming at an area with Libra's Mars and South Node. Those 𝐴𝐶𝐿s are your wild cards out of karma. Okay, 𝐴𝐶𝐿s are wild cards or keys that get you out of deep bullshit. Okay, so with Neptune retrograding, it really is, because Neptune's all about illusion, right? When it's direct. Hey Sherry, how you doing? Yeah, Neptune's all about illusion when it's direct. And so when it's retrograding, we're reflecting on things that weren't clear in order to make them clear. So if you can go back and reflect on different experiences that you've had and put them up against what experience you're having, you can decide or discern what it is that you really want in soul. What felt or feels better to experience? You know, not necessarily the person, because the person or situation may not be recoverable, right? But what is it that felt really good? Like, is one person that you were with constantly yelling at you, or constantly making you feel like you're walking on eggshells, or constantly putting you down, and it doesn't feel that good? Versus someone who is truly appreciative of you, even when you didn't feel like you were good enough. And, you know, someone who loved you even when you were hard to love, like, and did that feel better to be with someone who was compassionate versus someone who's not, right? Like, Even if you went after the person who's maybe not really compassionate and that's who you're with now, like if you were with someone who was more compassionate before, it's kind of reflecting on what experiences you have and in hindsight really wish you continued keeping. Because if your partner is not compassionate, you may want to have, you know, that conversation to allow a balancing to take place, because Aries, that Mars energy, is about taking the lead on balancing things, right? And so it's because it doesn't feel good, right? South Node is like a Mr. Clean Eraser for the cosmos. If it's not in alignment, if it's fucked up, like the Mr. Clean Eraser is gonna get it out. So this is a really good time to radically shift the reality, right? Uranus and Taurus, really good time to radically shift the reality in favor of balance. Like if you're going to shoot your shot to balance something, this would be a really good time to do it. You may need to clear up some past bullshit that was not in balance in order to do that, right? And maybe admit where you were delusional or misled in the past, and that you are no longer unclear about the value of whatever is in front of you. You know what I mean? So this would be a great time, especially because the South Node does bring up the past energies. This would be a really great time if you want to take a shot at reconciling with someone that was lost or a situation that was lost. You know, if you have Libran energy and you want to go back to a certain partnership, whether that's romantic or business, you know, it doesn't matter. If you want to reconcile and balance something legit, this would be a great time to elevate in that way, right? Because it's what you want, right? That in Aries integration. So I would definitely think about that, because if that's the yod type energy, if that's what's going to get you out, because the base of that yod is Pisces and Taurus, they're both feminine elements. You really need to let your divine feminine energy within guide you to what it is you want to receive. Because that's what feminine energy is. It's receptive. What do you actually want to receive? And allow your Libran energy, masculine energy, right? Libra is an air sign. It's a masculine sign. It's a cardinal sign. Allow your masculine yang energy, that shot calling ability, right? That willpower, determined, lead your life creator energy, and really choose what it is that you actually want to receive in the experience. Give me all just a second. My nose just pissed me off when I went live, so I'm going to go cater to it for a second, and I'll be right back. And we're going to get into the secret code names. You know, as I'm having like revelations blowing my nose. I was thinking, you know, like the nose is the bridge, right? It's the bridge to the third eye. This is a time where you literally might have to step away and take a step back or separate your energy from certain people, especially if you have strong water in your chart because you're empathic, right? To separate your energy and really get clear it is on what you want to see. Because what you're visualizing, and you have to acknowledge what it is that's visualizing here, what you're seeing transpire, right? Because if you don't like what you see here, then you have to realign with what it is you do want to see and then choose from there. Because if you're seeing a certain vision that you don't want to see and you're making choices or taking actions, what you're doing is you're choosing to create that vision. If you change the vision and then act, what you're doing is taking actions in accordance with that vision. So you really do have to get clear on what it is that you want and visualize it here and then take actions. No matter what ends up transpiring or what it looks like, trust that it's going to get you to the achievement of that vision, as opposed to, you know, seeing the worst possible outcome and then taking actions to avoid it only for it to manifest. You know, that's why what we resist persists and what we fear appears. It's for that exact reason. So don't get it twisted. Like, be really clear on what it is you want to receive, because you have the ability to manifest it right now. Okay. Now let's get into these readings. Put that over there. First secret code name is Moissanite. Moissanite is actually a really gorgeous stone that looks a lot like a diamond. It has very similar metaphysical properties as well. It is not a diamond. Diamonds are still harder, higher quality stones, but they're really beautiful and a wonderful stone to have, especially for its energetic properties. If you want a stone that has really similar properties to a diamond that doesn't have a diamond's price tag on it. So, Moissanite. And you can look it up if you want to look up the metaphysical properties of any of the different stones that became secret code names tonight. I highly recommend it. So I'm starting off these readings. I have the Night Sun Tarot. This is the energy of the old skin. Then I have the Animal Spirit cards by 𝐚𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐿. This is the transitional energy getting you from one to the other. And then I have the Spellcaster's Tarot, which is the new self. Okay. The new self once the skin has been shed. So let's dive in. For those who resonated to the secret code name Moissanite. What is their old self? What does the old self look like that they're letting go of? What does the old self look like? And the spread that I'm doing 4 cards in a square with the bridge and then 4 cards in a diamond. All right, so if you guys wanted to replicate the kind of spread, right, that I'm doing, transformation of the self, you could do that. Okay. What's the bridge? Tiger. What's the new self? I love it. All right. Yes. Okay, so you used to be the overflow. You used to be the divine blessing that others were receiving and not necessarily valuing. We have the 4 of Cups with the Justice card, can't come out with the 5 of Cups and the 10 of Coin. The bridge is the Tiger, and then we have the 9 of Pentacles come out with the Tower and the 7 of Pentacles, and then the 2 of Cups and the 10 of Wands came out together in reverse. So prior, right, who you were, the old self, missed opportunities to love the self. You were pouring to other people, but not necessarily pouring to yourself, right? And in order to do that, to bring that balance in, you would either provide financially or be really stable financially, or not be a burden to your partner, right? That you wouldn't necessarily need them, that you wanted to be wanted, right? You didn't want to be needed, you wanted to be wanted. But that puts you in a very regrettable position with the 5 of Cups, right? Feeling like you're constantly pouring and leaking and not getting enough in return. And so you were just this really stable, reliable person who, you know, didn't need anybody or wasn't codependent. You know what I mean? Like, you were not codependent, but I think you were dealing with codependent partners, people who have worthiness issues, right? You're dealing with people in your outer experience who have worthiness issues, and that stemmed from not knowing your own worth, right? Divine mirror. But that shifted. We got the Tiger energy. Now the Tiger has Black Moon on its 3rd eye, which is seeing, right? Because cats, tigers in particular, are extremely intuitive. And this is seeing, right, where you've abandoned yourself, that whoever you were pouring out to ultimately demonizes you or vilifies you when you try and pour into yourself, right? When you're in that self-love mode and you try and overflow to yourself, you're demonized or vilified, right? You're an asshole, or you're, you know, in the wrong for taking your own energy into consideration. And so what happened is you ended up in the 9 of Pentacles energy, which is super sovereign. And you realize that you were essentially giving someone who's just hoarding your energy, right? It's literally, it shows her, the feminine on the figure, not very happy, holding a squirrel in her hand and hand feeding the squirrel, even though there's a squirrel feeder right next to her. The squirrel wants to be hand fed, but it's got a veil, like a cloth over its face. It's just this faceless, needy squirrel. And it's like sitting there to feed the squirrel because the squirrel won't go in the feeder. She can't just leave her energy there and let the squirrel come and get it when it needs it. The squirrel is like faceless, not letting you see them, but is super needy. And you have to sit there. It's like wasting your time. The squirrel could be in a fucking feeder and it's not. Like, all it needs to do is take its mask off and stop pretending like it can't see when it can, right? I don't need to sit here and show you my value and be this value. You could take the fucking mask off and see the fact that I've given my energy and I need to go and put my energy elsewhere. I can't just sit here all fucking day giving you my energy. Take the fucking block off and see the value of what I am, because the squirrel is treating the human like it's a fucking feeder. It's not a feeder. The human is not a feeder. The squirrel can't tell the difference. So why is the person sitting there wasting their fucking time and energy for someone who's not valuing them? It's like a fucking epiphany, right? Like a lightning bolt going off. We got the Tower and the Seven of Pentacles. It's not yielding the results that you want. You're trying to give all this extra energy to something, but the pot's too small for the plant. You want it to grow, and you want it to grow better. But the plant can only grow as big as the pot that it's in. It should be in the ground, right? Why is that big plant inside of a pot when it could literally be planted in the ground underneath of it? And this is what's happening. You are limiting yourself with your environment. You could only grow so far with the people that you are around and the people you are giving your energy to. You need a more suitable environment. You're capping yourself. And it's like the revelation that's coming in. You're starting to see where you limit yourself by putting yourself in environments with people that are too small for your energy. And that is literally keeping you small. Being around the small energies, being around the small situations is literally keeping you small. It's keeping you from reaching your full potential. So you're like, fuck that. Two of Cups reversed with the 10 of Wands reversed. Fuck that. We're not playing small. Letting go of the soulmates, right? Not drinking the Kool-Aid. That this is all you can get. This is all you can settle for. This is all you're good for. Playing small. With small energy people. Whose lives are probably only as good as they are, or whose situation is only as good as it is, because you make it that. Take you out of the picture, and what the fuck do they do for themselves? That's small energy. Big energy, if you were to split from someone who has big energy, they don't downgrade. Their life is not in shams. They pick it up, they grow bigger and better, and you're just like, oh shit. I was holding that person back. Wow, my energy was small. Because when we split, they boomed. Wow. But if someone has small energy and you leave their life falls apart. It falls apart. They're like, fuck, and they're scrambling, and they're trying to pull energy vampire from other people. Help me, help me, help me, because this person who was giving me my big glow up, who was the reason my life was as good as it was, just bounced. And they don't know what the fuck to do because their energy is small. You're better off without them. This is the revelation that you're having with people. If you coming into someone's life makes their life better, you have to understand if they are not doing the same for you, they have small energy. Your life has to be better with them. It has to be better. If your life is not better, if it's a one-way upgrade and you being in their life is an upgrade to their life, their lifestyle, their energy, if you upgrade their life and it is not mutual, you fucked up. You just put yourself in a small pot and capped your best potential. You're playing small. And I think that's what you're learning moving into your new self. You're recognizing small or low vibratory people and are like, damn, like it felt better. Like, I think I even said that to my ex. I was like, I'm better without you. He said, what? I said, I'm better off without you. I'm a better me. I'm a better me without you. I wasn't fucking wrong. I wasn't wrong. I glowed up and boomed when I left. You have to recognize who in your life, no matter who they are or what label they carry, you have to recognize when someone's vibe is capping your own. Can they upgrade their own self and transform? Of course they can. People can change over time. But you still have to see people for where they are, not where their potential is. Which, you know, is the problem of a lot of people. They're like, well, this person can be so great. If I come in and help elevate them, they can reach their potential. The problem is you sacrifice your potential to be with someone who is not living up to their potential, only for them to be dependent on you to portray some false potential, and you have to leave. And the only thing that was accomplished was that nobody reached their potential. That was the only thing that was accomplished. You do not plug yourself into someone else's life and let them glow up and hold that false glow up at the sacrifice of your own, to the point that you have to leave and they never actually glowed up. It was just false because you made yourself present and plugged yourself in. You don't pick people up. People have to pick themselves up. People have to make their life better. People have to choose to be better. And if people are not living up to their full potential, and they would be in shams without you because your energy is plugged in and feeding them, like, stop. This is why that energy of this full moon is so important, right? When we did the intro talking about the different alignments going on. Who is wifey and who is fucking hoe bag, energetically speaking? Who looks really good? They're beautiful. There's attraction there. There's all this chemistry, energy. They're my person, but they're not fucking actual partner material. Romantic or otherwise. They looked really good on the outside. Everything was really great for a while. And then all of a sudden, their energy is literally just taking advantage of yours. Taking you for granted, and they're not getting better. You got to reflect on what it is that you really, really want, right? That energy. And it's about knowing that because you've gone through this lesson, you will see it a mile away now. That when you feel tempted to lift someone up, you catch yourself like, nah, bitch, don't do that. No. Don't do that. We've been there, done that, right? We've been there, done that. Just created an energetic drain for the self, and it was bullshit. So you are definitely a new you now. You know what I mean? Like with this full moon, by the time it completely transpires through the eclipses throughout October, this integration is going to be huge for you. Because if you're kind of on the fence now, or you're still in that dynamic ship where your energy is the energy that's holding the reality up for what it is. And if you remove you, it's like removing the keystone out of, you know, like old doorways, how they had like the different stone doorways. There was always that one weird cut stone at the top, that keystone. You remove the keystone, the whole doorway collapses. You're like the keystone. And right now, you're still holding up the doorway for other people. And they're like, I don't know if I really want to walk through the door and elevate myself. Like, I just like looking and knowing that the door is there. Just keep holding the door open. Bitch, walk through the door or I'm going to shut it in your face. Like, I'm not here to just hold up the fucking door, right? I'm not here to just do that for you. I'm not a door holder. It is not my fucking job. It is not my job. What the fuck card just flew out like that? Yeah, you're gonna have to communicate that, Knight of Swords. You're gonna have to start cutting bitches off. You know what I mean? If you really want to get into that tiger energy, right, where you're seeing where you've abandoned yourself and that people are vilifying you when you love yourself or draw a healthy boundary or try and create a healthy boundary or create opportunity for yourself, and people look at you like you're the asshole. Well, that's how you know you're misaligned with small energy, low energy people, because they're not going to like you glowing up or creating healthy boundaries or pouring into yourself. They're not going to appreciate it. You're going to be the asshole for leaving them high and dry without your fucking energy. Oh, well, learn to fucking pour into yourself then. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, not sorry. I gave you a great example about what pouring into yourself and taking the lead in life looks like. You know, if you don't want to lose me and you're losing me, well, then I guess you have to become me then. Become me then. If my energy is so good for you, but your energy is not good for me and I'm leaving, then you need to become me. I'm a hard worker and a provider. That's what you need. Then you need to become a hard worker and a provider. I'm considerate and I care. Okay, well then you're going to need to become a considerate and caring person. You can't not be considerate and not care then. You're going to have to become what it is you want. This is how we teach people. We lead by example. And when shit's not good enough, we leave. And you teach them that too. This is how people elevate themselves over the course of time. They need an example. They need an example. People get put in karmic situations to see things from other people's point of view all the time. Like, I promise you, there is not a single, anybody who has ever been, especially on like the twin flame journey, if you were ever with a partner where you poured your everything in and they were not giving back, I promise you, the karmic that they ended up with after they were pouring everything in and not getting anything back. Why? Because the universe would teach you to become what you lost, so that you understand why you lost it, so that you understand why that person that you lost had to walk away, because now you're in a position that they were in and also have to walk away, so that you can understand people. People put you in the mirror all the fucking time. All the time. All the time. Constantly learning fucking lessons. And you were meant to be in their life because they need to learn. They need to learn how to walk away from vampiric energy people. They need to recognize that they were also the energy vampire, which is why now they're in the opposite position, feeling what it feels like to be on the receiving end of an energy vampire, right? The universe does not fuck around. Universe does not fuck around. You start losing good things like... Universe is teaching you something, you know? It does not fuck around. Spirit is on point. On fucking point. All right. Just putting a quick shuffle on these cards, and then we're going to move on to Alexandrite. That was a secret code name Moissanite. Okay. Alexandrite. Timestamp. Oh. The first secret code name's timestamp was 3223. This one's 5454. All right. Alexandrite's a really pretty stone, by the way. If you don't know what Alexandrite looks like, it's fucking sharp. All right. So what does the old self being shed look like for secret code name Alexandrite and those who resonate to it? What does the old self look like? Okay. What's the bridge to the new self? And what does the new self look like? That's a fucking upgrade. Wow, that's a fucking upgrade. Okay. All right, Alexandrite, I hear you. So in the past, world card on the bottom, you were probably really fucking stubborn and fixed and doing things a certain way, wanting things to be a certain way, right? We got the world card on the bottom, end all be all, fixed energy, right? Saturnian energy. Saturn is long-term karmic cycles, very restrictive, painful, right? We have the 7 of Wands in reverse with the 5 of Swords clarified by the Hierophant and the 10 of Wands. You literally were not defending yourself. You are absolutely martyring the self, ignoring your own pain, ignoring your own suffering, and continuing to like fight with your own self inside your head about the burden that you're putting up with. Literally piss at yourself, like, why am I doing this? Like, this person doesn't care, or this situation is awful and I'm still doing it. Like, why? Just beating a dead horse type thing. Taking the horse to water and it's refusing to drink and you're fighting it like you need to drink the water, and the horse is like, fuck you, I ain't drinking shit, you know? And it's just like, but if you don't drink the water, you're going to die, you know? Like, you need to drink your water, and the horse is like, fuck you, I'll die then. And then the horse dies and you're trying to beat it, you know, back to life, like, drink the water, and the horse is fucking lying there like you're beating a dead horse. That was the old self. And then getting pissed at the self, right? Getting pissed at the self because the horse wasn't drinking the water. Just really sticking yourself in long-term, painful, sufferable situations and dynamic ships. dealing with really stubborn people, right? Because if you're being really stubborn in the way you're doing things, that you want to lead the horse to water and make it drink, right, to better it, or whatever your reason is for being stuck on this horse being alive, you know, that you were unwilling to change and let the horse figure it out on its own type thing. Like, the horse was extremely resistant. It was one of those people that, like, you could tell it, like, hey, you know, take this and go do that with it. It'll make your life better. And they're just like, no, don't tell me what to do. And you're like, but what I'm telling you to do makes 100% sense. You should do it. It makes 100% sense. And they're like, no, just because they don't like being told what to do. No other reason. They know you're right. Like, the horse knows it needs to drink the water. The horse ain't stupid. It's stubborn. No. I want it to be my idea. I don't want it to be your idea. You're not getting credit for it. I'd rather die than give you credit. These are the types of people you were dealing with. I would rather die than listen to you and give you credit. I'm not doing it just because you told me to. Dumb fuck levels of stubborn, right? I'm not going to be better because that's what you want. Just because that's what you want. You were like, all right. The bridge is the bat energy. This is about sonar. It's about reading between the lines. Because words and actions are two different things. Because someone can say, yeah, I'll do it. And they continuously don't do it. It's like the horse saying, yeah, I'll drink the water. Just give me a second. And they never drink it. They want to walk off and go chase a butterfly or whatever the fuck. It's so pretty. And they're getting distracted. You're starting to read between the lines of people. Sonar is about registering what is going on around you. Even though you can't see it, you can sense that it's there. Probably super empathic. You might not be able to see the wounds, but you can sense that they're there. And you probably start to realize you're doing the same thing. Spirit is trying to lead you to water and you're just not drinking it. You're like, no, Spirit, I don't see the water. Like, while you're busy, right? Think about this. While you're busy trying to convince the horse to drink, you yourself are not drinking the water. And you're so busy now beating the dead horse, trying to get it to drink so that it comes back to life, that you yourself are still not drinking the water. And Spirit's like, you need water. I took you all the way to this water, Spirit, right? I took you all the way to this water and you still haven't drank it yet. And you're like, oh, Spirit, I am so sorry. Like, Spirit brought you all the way to this life and put you through all of these different lessons with the horse. Not because the horse needed water like you thought. Because you did. Spirit guided you to cross paths with this horse and be so in love with this horse and want to get this horse to the best of its ability to drink the love, right? Water is love, metaphorically speaking. And the whole time it was because Spirit was leading you to the water so that you could drink the love of life. It was never about the horse. It was about you learning how to not focus on other people when the opportunity presents itself for you to love yourself. Other people have inspired you to places where you need to love yourself. And you're like, oh my God, Spirit. If I don't drink the water, I'm going to die just like the horse. And the revelation's huge. You realize that, meeting these people in your life is not an accident. But it was because Spirit was teaching you how to embrace loving yourself. How to not focus on other people to the detriment of yourself, where you're not defenseless. Where you're defenseless and you're just martyring yourself for situations that leave you seriously conflicted inside, burdened, heavy, spiritually drained. It's draining. You're like, wow, So now you see it, right? The new you sees it. We have the moon card here, or we have 2 big full moons on these cards. Full moon in Aries, right? So you can see these cards. The moon is about seeing through the wounds, right? The childhood wounds, or maybe you just wanted to be told you were good enough. Maybe you wanted to see the people like your parents who were suffering with each other succeed. Right? As an example, maybe your parents were seriously locked into a marriage where they were suffering with each other. And you just wanted to see them happy. You just wanted to see them succeed and be successful together. You just wanted it all to work out and be happily ever after for them. And so you've been trying to chase that and create that all over again in your other dynamic ships, romantic or otherwise. Try to be the person that says, see how beautiful it is? Like, it's okay. Life is beautiful. See, there's love here. Let's go with the flow of love, right? Now, I think you're getting over this lack mentality where you're seeing the difference between the truth you hold within yourself that lack mentality brings. Like the truth and the value of someone else, right? That they are lacking. I think you're seeing how that reflects in your own lack mentality that you wouldn't choose better for yourself. And I think you're sticking a knife in it, so to speak, right? Because the sword's in reverse here. I think you're sticking a knife in it. It's done. That impoverished lack mindset. That your wounds would bring you to what is familiar. That lack in people. That they feel like they can't do better, or don't want to do better, or don't want to love themselves and choose better. Like, I think you're moving beyond that. Like people like that. Like parents that were literally miserable and suffering together because they were married, or they had kids, or they had this, and they had these ties, and they had to stick around and suffer with each other. And you're just like, there's more out there. There's better out there to experience than that. You end up in the emperor energy. The emperor energy, when we have the empress on the bottom. Literally. You end up in emperor energy, completely transformed, right? Lovers cards under that. You completely transformed. Like, no more. You've reached a place where you recognize that your childhood wounding, right, what you grew up and became familiar with, is not acceptable. It's not good enough. What you learned to settle for suffering and try your damnedest to make it better, even though people are stubborn and don't listen. You're like, I don't want to be with someone who's stubborn and doesn't want to listen. I don't want to be stubborn and not listen to spirit. Like, I deserve better than this. I don't want to suffer. Old you used to suffer. You used to choose suffering continuously, trying to make it better, wanting it to succeed, wanting it to be healthy, wanting to see it capable of tackling anything together, right? And recognizing when you're with someone who's defiance, who literally just is so stubborn, they would rather suffer than let you be right. They would rather suffer than accept your help. Think about that. It was reflective of your own willingness to suffer instead of helping yourself experience better, because it's all you've ever known. And Spirit's like, I'm going to teach you something new now. I have to teach you something new now. Because you're wasting a lot of energy beating dead horses and forgetting that you yourself need to drink. And I think that's where you're moving, especially into October, right? Especially with the eclipses coming up as this full moon energy unfolds. Really releasing who you were and recognizing these very detrimentally stubborn energies for what they are and saying no more. I'm not going to be with someone so stubborn that they would rather fucking suffer and have me suffer than improve, than embrace what they need. I'm done with that energy, right? That mirror. So kudos to you, because you're definitely choosing to receive better, and you will. The Emperor and the Empress with the cards. Yeah. You're not going back to suffering. At least this is what this moon cycle, this full moon cycle, is allowing you to understand, so that you can literally upgrade and not deal with that same cycle of lessons over and over and over again. Putting yourself in a defenseless situation where you're literally just digging your own grave, so to speak, which is weird, because the Seven of Wands, it really does. The way the wands are situated behind what is essentially a mound here, it does look like someone's buried. It could definitely perceive that way. I've never read that card that way, but it looks like that, right? The mound of earth here with the sticks coming out the back, the wands coming out the back. Like, being defenseless and just martyring the self, digging your own grave, energetically speaking. Like, you stick around energies like that, they're going to bring your energy down. They're going to stress you out so bad. Like, it'll be the death of you. They'll be the death of you. Your health takes that hit. The stress, your health takes that hit. The pain, the suffering, like that's how dis-ease manifests inside the body. Ignoring pain, ignoring suffering, ignoring stress, eating it down, and martyring the self anyway. Like, you manifest health problems. That's what happens when you don't remember to drink the water yourself. The flow and love of spirit, right? deserve better than stubborn-ass people who would rather suffer and rather see you suffer than improve. Like, yeah, fuck that. Just putting a quick shuffle on all the cards, and then we're going to get into secret code name Sapphire. All right. Secret code name Sapphire. 11633. Okay. Secret code name Sapphire. Those who are drawn to the message. What is going on in the energy? What's the old self being shed? All right, what's the bridge to the new self? What is the bridge to the new self? That's an interesting combination. All right, and what is the new self? What does the new self look like? Oh, I love it. Okay. So the old self, we got the Six of Swords and the Nine of Coin, clarified by the Empress and the Eight of Coin. So it looks like this. Okay. I feel the Six of Swords clarified by the Empress. Now, the Empress card, if you take a good close look at this, she has a broken egg in her lap. She's wearing a crown of thorns, right? And she's got the Hierophant's staff. And the Hierophant is Chiron. This Empress has martyred herself. Innocent, right? because we're the crown of thorns is Christ consciousness. It's an innocence. It's a not having done anything wrong. And almost feeling like, because she has almost like this bug-eyed look, like her eyes are wide open, but she almost looks crazy, right? It's having to walk away. It was having to walk away from energy that is like, I cannot believe I dealt with this. Like, this is fucking crazy. I was innocent, right? I was innocent and had to walk away because it was fucking crazy. And it was a creation, right? It was a legit creation. It was something that, you know, had been committed to, and it cracked and ruined, you know what I mean? You've had to move forward. And choosing sovereignty and putting work into the self, right? With the 9 of Pentacles clarified by the 8 of Pentacles. So you've been solo doing work on the self probably for a really long time. The bottom of the deck is the Chariot with the 7 of Pentacles, and feeling like you've had to constantly move forward in self-improvement. And it's probably because whatever situation you dealt with in the past, right? The cracked egg, where you were truly innocent and had yourself literally hung on the cross, right? We're talking serious martyring of the self. That you received something that is seemingly incredibly unfair, right? It was incredibly unfair. You've been on a path of work on myself, work on myself, work on myself, work on myself, work on my life, sovereignty, right? Being solo, not really committing to anything because the past experience, it was so unjust and so unfair, the receiving of it. It's almost like it left you a little crazy, and in the sense that you don't necessarily want to open up and commit to anything else, right? Super sovereign. You don't necessarily want to open up and commit to anything else because the last time you did, it was so grossly unfair, and it left you like, what the fuck? Like, did I just go through? Right? It has this impression of a question mark on how the fuck did that happen? How did I get in that broken egg situation where I was innocent and lost everything, right? Martyred everything, that I was literally hung on the cross, and like literally my energy was left for dead and on display. You know, it's kind of that vibe that comes through with the card. And so you're like, if that situation happened, like, why would I open up to another situation and risk it happening again? Because you don't understand how that happened to begin with, right? You don't understand how that happened to begin with. I would, because the bridge is raccoon and starfish. This is the interesting combination. Raccoons are little thieving masked animals. They're nocturnal, right? And the starfish literally has star quality and receives its nourishment by just kind of floating around and hanging around, where the raccoon is a scavenger, right? It has to go out and accept scraps. The bridge, I feel, is recognizing the difference in your energy, that you are not out there like the raccoon looking for scraps because you deserve better than scraps, right? You're not out there looking for trash energy that other people discarded for a reason, right? Like, you would rather something nourishing just come your way, and vice versa, that it kind of just falls into place, that it kind of just happens very naturally, developments with things, and isn't something that's particularly being sought after. Like, they're like an example, someone who is, you know, we're gonna use an example, an older person, right? Maybe they're older, maybe they're in their late 40s, 50s, going into their 60s. They're divorced, maybe had a couple relationships under their belt that failed. Maybe they're fresh single and they're out there, you know, talking to you or whatever, and you're like, you know, you're divorced a couple times, your last partner left you, it wasn't the other way around. Like, you're picking up the scraps. Like, there's a reason why this person is the age they are with the experience they've had, and it keeps getting thrown away, like thrown back. Like, no, I don't want that. Well, if they all didn't want that person, there's a reason why they didn't want that person. Why would you want them? All those other past partners didn't want them. Why would you want them? That's why I said, like, my exes, I don't give a fuck. Someone wants my ex, go for it. They're garbage. It's garbage energy. I threw them back for a reason. My Venus in Scorpio loves beyond its expiration date. Will pour endlessly, tried my Cancer moon. If I threw it back and said, nah, there is a reason. There is a reason. You want my ex? Good luck. Good luck. Now? Oh, fuck that. No more. You know what I mean? Like, no. I'm not going to date someone else's trash neither. Like, no. If you left an ex-partner because they were not what you deserve to have, and you find yourself in a position like me, like where you've constantly had to let people go, you're not being thrown away by other people. You're having to make cuts, right? It's kind of like the equivalent to getting in shape, like you're cutting off the excess. You're cutting off the unwanted weight. You're getting in shape, energetically speaking. That's way different than someone that keeps getting discarded, right? You want someone who's energetically fit. I think that you're recognizing the difference between trash and treasure, truly. Because as we move into your new self, right, we've got the Two of Pentacles. And in this one, the dog is in the background coming up with like a bagged lunch. And one pentacle is clearly higher than the other. Right. And you see the dog in the background bringing in the lunch. That dog is also right here. Same dog, only in the Two of Pentacles, it's with a masculine whose yin yang is on the hat, right? He's got a balanced yin yang on his crown, literally on his crown, on his head. And then we got the same dog here at the foot of the Queen of Pentacles. This is about being chosen, being put above other people, and sitting with that manifestation that someone would take an opportunity to choose and choose you and choose to give the manifestation and the life to you, that loyalty to you, that nourishment to you, right? The loyalty and the nourishment with the dog, that you could sit and just cherish the manifestation. The Queen of Pentacles here, see if my camera will focus, has her eyes closed. She's relaxed on her throne. They're all taking a nap. The dog is at her feet. They're taking a nap, and she's just literally cradling the manifestation. It's not about doing the work anymore. The Eight of Pentacles is in reverse. Really, the dog and the squirrel are also in this card. That empty feeling of not having, right, of being out in the rain. The masculine energy within the self is putting the shelter together. The same dog and squirrel inside this card, right? Talk about synchronicities. You're not dealing with protecting your energy like you used to because you see the difference. We've got the Sun and the Ace of Cups here. You learned how to receive. You learned how to shine and receive. The weaver of your life, right? Weaving the golden thread. And getting this overflow. Like, you're not crazy. You didn't actually deserve the unfairness that you went through before. The problem was you didn't know the difference. You didn't know the difference between trash and treasure. And now you do. Now you do. Trash wants to become treasure. We don't make that happen for people. People have to see their own value and go after it, right? And go through huge transformations in their life, right? Addicts need to go through some major transformation and decide definitively for themselves that they will never go back to being an addict and that they're going to stay sober or stay responsible, right? Or stay respectful, depending on what the addiction is, and not partake in that addiction anymore. They have to go through what is essentially a complete rebirth, right? Scorpionic energy. Scorpio and its shadow rules addictions. And its light is transformation, right? In order for trash to become treasure, they really have to go through a major awakening, which is why Scorpio also rules the Judgment card. They have to go through a major awakening and make that judgment call that they cannot stay the same. They have to be better. Because otherwise, you don't want it. Right? Why would you want that? If someone has, has a temper and they're like, yeah, my ex left me because I have a temper and blah, blah, blah. Or, I was really reckless and always getting in fights. Okay, so what happened? Where I was really reckless and I was always cheating, right? Serial cheater. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Like, they're going to have to definitively decide, I never want to do that again. I never want to cheat again, because every time I cheat, I lose a good person. I end up single. And I repeat. Maybe I don't want to have secrets and online whatever and blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'm not going to, have OnlyFans accounts and, like all kinds of girls on Facebook and piss off my fucking partner. Because I lose people. Like, they're going to have to go through some epiphany change within themselves and take action to let go of those things before they get into another relationship. People are like, oh, well, if I was in a relationship, I'll let it go. Like, well, why would I delete my OnlyFans accounts? And why would I delete all these people off my Facebook that I like all their photos if I'm not in a relationship? Because you want to be in a relationship, and that's not healthy. So if your partner's not going to like it, act as if your partner's there. They tell you, act as if your partner's there, even when there's not. Even when they're not. What do you need it for then? Like, stop feeding the addiction then. You know what I mean? Become the person that your partner wants to have in their life, whoever the partner is. That's how you turn trash to treasure. letting go of the problem so that when something comes in that's worthwhile, there's no problem that needs to be addressed. The problem was already taken care of. You know, it's already been polished out. That's the revelation, right? Where people are either in alignment when you meet them, or they're waiting for a reason to be in alignment, which means reality. They're not in alignment then. Well, yeah, I smoke a lot of weed, but, you know, if I met the right person, I'd quit. Okay, well, the right person isn't going to look at you or give you the time of day if you're smoking your fucking brains out being a fucking stoner. You know? You have to do one before you get the other. And people think it could be the other way around. Well, I'll quit. It's fine. I'll quit when they show up. I'll quit if they're interested. They're not going to be interested unless you've already chosen it. You know, and I think that's the mentality that you're finding yourself in. If they're not already doing what's in alignment, then you're not interested. You're not interested. Which is why you're moving into that vibration of getting what it is you really want. Being chosen, being valued. Because you're choosing it. You're choosing yourself to be valued. Your own masculine energy is balanced and your loyalty to self is nourishing you, which is why you're able to sit inside the manifestation and not feel alone or feel unloved, but actually be the creator of your life, the creator of your destiny, right? Weaving the golden thread type thing. You know, storytellers are weavers of destiny. And I think you've decided the story you want to tell. And you're in it to be the treasure and be treasured by by treasure. Like that's the alignment you're setting yourself up for. You were treated like trash and unfairly so, like unjustly so, and it left you feeling kind of fucking crazy. Like, what? But I think now you recognize it. Like, trash behavior is trash behavior. Red flags are red flags. And you're like, no, I'm good. I see the red flag. I'm good. I ain't going down that rabbit hole. Right? Sapphire is third eye stone. It's a throat chakra stone, right? Deep blue. Third eye and throat chakra. Like, you're seeing the truth in things and being clear in your communication about what you're seeing between you and you. You're seeing correctly, right? It's that acknowledgement that you are seeing correctly. You are sensing correctly. That red flag, you are sensing it correctly. You are seeing someone's energy correctly. And it's that trust in self. Because if you don't trust what you're seeing is correct, all that leads to dark places. We ignore red flags or make excuses for people or, well, this is all right, I guess. No. If it's not a fuck yeah, it's a fuck no. You're seeing correctly. Put a quick shuffle on all these cards. I'm going to step away for a second to handle my fucking nose one more time too before I get into Fire Agate. Which is the last of our secret code names. Really, I don't know where my nose got this fucking attitude from. Like I said, it's been good for a couple of days now. I thought my allergy binge was like over. I was fine when I woke up from my way too long nap. And yeah, I went live, and within like 30 seconds of the live, my nose decided it wanted to be a dick. So I'm going to go handle that. And then I will be back. So give me like 2-3 minutes and I'll be back. And we'll do Fire Agate. All right. And we are back. Thank you for your patience. So, secret code name Fire Agate. Ooh, 14422. I will take that timestamp. What's up, Fire Agate? Good time. Okay. I love the number synchronicities at the timestamps. I think they're awesome. Alrighty. So, secret code name Fire Agate, and those who are drawn to the message have resonated to this reading. Let's see. What's the old self being shed with this full moon? for secret code name Fire Agate. What is the old self being shed? Okay, what's the bridge? What's the bridge to the new self? And what is the new self? What does that look like? Wow, 3 major arcana for the new self. 3 out of 4. Okay. So the old self, we have the 8 of coin and the death card, clarified by the 7 of pentacles reversed and the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So it looks like this. It's a very interesting death card. Okay. It looks like that. And you can see the 8 of Pentacles right here. The inner child is whispering to the masculine energy within the self, which is the mind. And you can see that the inner child is like, whatever they're whispering, their eye is red, right? Their eyes are red and they don't look like they're telling anything good because the mind is like, what? Like it has a surprised look on its face. You're welcome, Sherry. I love you. You're welcome. So I'm feeling like, I feel like you might have what is essentially an overactive inner child who might see the worst in everything. Okay, you might have a very pessimistic, overactive, pessimistic inner child, right? That sees the failures in everything, right? You see the potential failure in everything. And so you're constantly transforming, right? Because this death card is very pregnant. But the Queen of Pentacles, who is sometimes shown as pregnant, is clarifying it, and it's in the reverse. So it's like having this opportunity to create something and then aborting the creation, you know what I mean? Like letting go of the creation, like, nope, like didn't mean to do that, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you may have this habit of starting to create something beautiful, right? Starting to create a new life, being overly pessimistic, right? And seeing only the bad and then dropping it. Like, nope, don't want to create that. Right? Nope, don't want to create that. You're an angel. The Page of Cups is on the bottom. You're an angel withholding the cup. Look at her stance. She is side-eyed as hell. Holding that cup like, I'm an angel. I have the potential to be an angel. But I'm not giving you this cup. This has failure written all over it. You get involved in something and then see the worst and the worst possible outcome, all of the flaws. And you're like, I cannot believe all these flaws. You know what I mean? Like your inner child is like, and your masculine, your head's like, you know, because you're seeing all of these little teeny things that are so wrong, so off. And you literally convince yourself that this is not what you want. You can't work with this, right? You know, like this is too much. Very Virgo, to be completely fucking fair. It's almost like you have a detrimental Virgo position. Because we have literally Virgo present on this card. We've got Saturn, Taurus here, lots of Earth energy. We've got Earth here, and then, of course, Scorpionic energy. You may have something going on in your chart where there's a off-sign challenge going on between water and Earth, especially if it's Scorpio. Or with your Saturn placement. Right wherever your Saturn is. But yeah, I feel like you have a habit, your old self anyway, the self you're letting go of starting things, seeing the absolute worst of it once you get in it, and then you're like, oh shit, and bouncing. Okay. Now the bridge is the hawk. The messenger, right? The hawk is synchronistic to or indicative of Archangel Gabriel, right? The eagle is typically Archangel Michael, and the hawk is Archangel Gabriel. So I think the key for you is to communicate about what it is you're seeing that you don't like, or asking the questions. Why is it that you do that? You know, I notice this behavior, or I notice this pattern. Where did that come from? Like doing the digging to figure it out, right? Doing the digging, where does it come from? Wanting to know, so that it can be worked on, because the new self, we have the King of Wands, clarified by the Moon and the Temperance card and the Chariot. Okay. This is about the will, right? King of Wands is a master of will, determination, right? This is someone who knows what they want and goes after it, committed to achievement, right? Committed to digging and alchemizing. So why, right? Because the Moon is about the wounds. Why do people do what they do? And then alchemize it with the Temperance energy. Learning why people are the way they are, or why they're doing things the way they're doing things, so that you can move forward divinely, right? So you can divinely move forward with an open crown chakra, right? This is the lotus. in the Chariot. Being able to move forward with the divine. Because you've got to ask yourself then, why are you like that? Your old self. Why were you like that? Why do you see every flaw, every quirk, and paint it as negative? This will never work, and quit. Right? Why see the worst in things without seeing the best in things? Because that's the problem. When you start focusing on all the negatives, you're actually losing sight of the positives, because everybody has positives. I think you get too carried away with the negatives to where you're out. But you're not asking the why questions. You know, you're not saying, well, how come it's that way though? And talking with a person about it, like, hey, like, I noticed this, and you know, for me, it's off-putting, and I'm trying to understand why you do that. You know what I mean? Like, why do you do that? Or why are you this way? Or why do you choose like that? Right? Why, when presented with these options, you choose a certain way? And it's like helping them see themselves as you're helping yourself understand why they are the way they are, so that it doesn't bother you anymore. Whether your understanding allows you to not be bothered by it, or them talking about it and being made aware of the fact that someone noticed it and it was off-putting, you know, changes the situation so that it's no longer bothering you because they changed it. You know, that you brought it to their attention, they decided to change it. So, you know, it's something that they were willing to work on. I think that just seeing all the different things you don't like and being out, you know, whether it's mentally checked out, emotionally checked out, right? That you're no longer committed to it. I think that, you know, having those conversations and doing that digging is going to be really beneficial for you moving forward. Like, the hawk is communication, and it's about asking. It's about seeing the signs and seeing things for what they are and saying, okay, but why is it that way? Because people aren't the way they are for no reason. People are not the way they are for no reason. Like, cheaters weren't just born cheaters. They learned that cheating was okay by somebody. Either someone they admired cheated, and they were like, well, that person cheated and they're successful in life. So if I'm a cheater, that's fine, because I'm still going to be successful. I'm still going to get a hot girl or a hot guy or a successful girl or a successful guy on my arm, and it ain't going to matter. I can be a cheat, whatever. There's always someone new. Well, someone that they admired told them, well, if they're not giving it to you, find it somewhere else. And they're like, huh, that makes sense. And it's like, you know, they weren't always a cheater, though. They were taught it was okay. So it's like, well, why do you cheat? Who taught you that that was okay? You know what I mean? Like, trying to figure out why, because if they're unwilling to change it and it really does bother you, then you really do need to let them go. Right? Legit. You communicated the concern. They didn't want to, you know, change the concern. They didn't want to embrace the idea that, you know, what they're doing is coming from a wounded place, and they didn't want to heal it. Fine. And you got to move forward. But at least have the communication first, right? Have that conversation first to try and figure out why it is the way it is, and is it detrimental that if it's not changed, you have to move away from it. You know, because maybe it completely irks your fucking nerves that someone has a habit of leaving their dirty clothes in the bathroom. When they take a shower, they just leave their dirty clothes on the floor. Maybe it makes you fucking crazy. Maybe they also leave their dish in the sink or their whatever in the sink, and they don't clean up after themselves. Maybe they don't pick up a vacuum and help vacuum, or they need to be told to do it. Well, have that conversation. Like, why do you do that? Like, why do you think it's acceptable, or I have to do it? Like, who taught you that it was my job? Like, you don't clean up after me. I don't leave a mess for you to clean up. Like, why do you think it's okay to do that to me? Like, did your mom do your laundry for you? Did your mom always do the vacuuming and you learned that that's a woman's job? Because that's not what I'm here for. Like, we're a partnership, you know, and you need to not put stuff that you could be doing on me to do. That's not fair. It's a turn off for me. It doesn't make you look attractive in my eyes, because now I'm looking at you like you're a big kid I'm taking care of, and I don't want to be intimate and have adult relationships with a fucking grown man child or a grown woman child. Like, that's not attractive. Like, if you can't step up and take what is not my job off of me, then I gotta go. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, you're right. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe they start literally picking up after themselves and taking care of their own shit because you're not their fucking mommy type thing. And they don't like the idea that you don't want to be intimate with them, or that you're not attracted to them because they're acting like a child and what you want is an adult. Like, maybe you have to have that communication. If they don't change it and they're still acting like a big fucking kid and you're cleaning up after them, all right, well, maybe now you got to consider moving forward or being mommy to a grown-ass adult, you know? Like, but you have to have the communication instead of just being pessimistic and saying, oh, this is too much, and walking away from the creation and leaving it and abandoning it. Like, have the conversation first. And I think that's exactly the new self you're going into, because I think you're going to realize when you're being used and when you're with someone who legit cares, because someone who legit cares is going to listen to that conversation you're having and become solution oriented, because you're their partner and they don't want you to feel like, you know, you're unhappy in the relationship to the point that you would leave it. And I think you'll allow yourself and the process to be open to where you can improve as well. Because if your partnerships can improve, so can you. You know, if you keep attracting people that you find too many faults in and have to leave, well, then you have a lot of faults potentially within yourself that you're negating to look at, and are just moving forward to the next thing instead of looking at your own flaws, which is a communication issue. Like, let's call spades spades. You might have a communication issue. That's a flaw of yours that needs to be polished out, you know, worked on, so that you yourself are more attractive as a person, so that your energy is more attractive, so that your energy being more attractive manifests a more energetically attractive person, right? If you're willing to accept and work on your own flaws and become better, then you're going to attract someone who is willing to be the same. And I think that's where you're going. I think that's where you're going, where you're moving into a place of self-acceptance and self-acknowledgement and self-betterment, and that you're going to attract a person who is willing to be in the same vibration with you. Because if you're not changing and not looking at yourself, that's why you're, you know, manifesting partners that are not changing or looking at themselves and seeing the problem. Like, they don't see the problem, you know. Hey, Kristen, how you doing? You know, and I think that's exactly what's going on. So kudos to everybody for their new selves, because, you know, change, most of the time it happens in very small doses over long periods of time. And sometimes we get blessed and the change just clicks in. And I feel like with this full moon in Aries, especially with the energies coming up in October, I feel like we have a really beautiful opportunity to click in. And it's going to happen because there's so many challenges, right? Because there's that Venus-Juno conjunction squared Uranus, creating the 𝐸 quadrates to, you know, the Libra Aries opposition with the sun and moon. I think that it's important to understand those yod energies that I was talking about at the very beginning of the video, you know, and really reflect on what it is that you want and be inspired to receive it, you know, especially if that means acting in alignment in a way that maybe you haven't acted before, right? Allowing yourself the ownership of action in balance, right? That you would be in that balanced energy and choose to create a balanced manifestation, whatever that is, you know, whatever that is. You deserve what you deserve. And others, likewise, deserve what they deserve. Others deserve what they deserve. And it's all about alignment, right? Let yourself vibe in to where you want to vibe into and vibe out from what's not vibing up with you. So with that said, guys, I have faith that y'all will enjoy the readings in divine time whenever you catch them. I will see my Divine Rebel Diamond members tomorrow for the weekly duality report, and I will catch y'all on Facebook for the October forecasts. Okay, again, that post is on Facebook. It's on my Myths of Magic Rising business page. If you guys want to participate in those spreads, they are personal readings. They have been privatized if you pay in advance, that you will be given, you know, reading number 1, reading number 2, reading number 3. There will be timestamps and your name will not be mentioned during the readings because these are very in-depth readings. I'm going to be doing them live. I still have at least one spot available. So if you want it, then take the time to go to my business page on Facebook, Myths of Magic Rising, and find that post. It's what does your October look like? Let's find out. And all of the details are in that post on how to sign up. And I will be doing that at noon CDT tomorrow. Okay. I am GraceNicoleMyths signing out. Yeah, it's full moon Friday. Yeah. Well, definitely see what secret code name you resonate to, because I'm sure it'll definitely bring some revelation insight in for you, because these were really, really awesome reads. I was really happy with the reads and the different energies that came out, because they were definitely different. For each person, they were definitely different. They were Moissanite, Alexandrite, Sapphire, and Fire Agate. If you give me just a few minutes, I'm going to put all the timestamps in the comments. So you'll be able, if you like click out of the video and then click back in a few minutes, it'll be in there. All right. I love y'all. See you tomorrow. Bye.